Hello everyone and welcome to the part 9 playthrough of the Dream Master map. In this part I will be mostly fighting the enemy heroes left over from the previous parts like Solmyr and Mullich, which all will take place in the beginning of this video, and later I will start the next big push. However, most of the middle of this video is spent doing demon farming, shuffling armies and items around. I will add chapters for this video so that you could skip ahead the less interesting parts. The stupid idea that I need to spend movement on all of my heroes takes the best of me, and I'm sorry, and I hope to fix it in the future parts. Still, I hope you will enjoy this one too. Gathering some items for Orin, army and items for Orin to go into the brown player. So I have some plans for Ziv at this point, but I want to align her with Marius, and that's why she has a little bit of downtime at this point. And my plan for her is to actually go into Adrian, or rather take the town from Adrian. And since Adrian won't like this, I want Marius to be ready to jump in. But obviously I have some plans for Marius. So Marius will have to deal with Sir Mullich, with a brown hero in the underground, with Solmyr. And then there is something she needs to be doing with Calh. Something I mentioned in the previous part, and I'll talk a little bit about it when it's time for Calh to go. So first will be Solmyr, and as I mentioned in the previous part, his chain lightning actually does a lot of damage. Like, kills maybe like 1,000 demons on the first hit, so that's kind of crazy. But for some reason, if I don't move my demons very far forward, he actually prefers to cast haste first turn. I'm not sure why, honestly. Kind of doesn't make sense to me. It would make some sense if Nagas actually reached anything, but I mean they don't. And by the way, here's a little thing. I did not resurrect all here, but I actually could do that. And that's an interesting thing about the way AI handles artifacts. So Solmyr actually has, if you paid attention to the artifacts I gained from him, he actually has a Sleepkeeper, which should give immunity to Blind and Berserk and Hypnotize, whatever, right? Whatever means of control I might have. The funny thing is that Solmyr in my game actually unequipped it, so I could blind him. Now why would that happen? So that's like my understanding, I might be wrong. So he has 4 artifacts in his pocket slots, so 1 free slot. That's actually, I think it's quite important for that. And he has a golden goose in the backpack. So after reading Physmic, that's a kind of actually a very cool resource for some deep Heroes 3 knowledge. So it seems like when an AI finds an artifact, or in this case it's probably like happening in the very beginning of the map, so it may unequip, may replace some of heroes equipped artifacts with whatever it picks up. So in this case, we think about the golden goose being picked up, being in the backpack. So, and overall, the 5 pocket slots, all artifacts for these slots actually have the same priority for the AI. So AI would normally not change anything in this slot, but there is one exception, which I think is the case with Solmyr here. So, and this exception applies to set artifacts. In this case, he has a goose, and when AI has a set artifact, so it checks if the primary slot for the artifact is free, and the goose, as you know, it needs 3 pocket slots, and basically it means that primary slot is a pocket as well, and there is one empty slot, right? And so AI sees that there is an empty pocket slot for the set item, and in that case what happens is that it unequips remaining other slots that it needs to free for the set artifact. And in this case, these slots are 2 more pocket slots, and basically I think in my game what it ended up doing is it unequipped a Sleepkeeper and maybe some other artifact to freeze place for the golden goose. So, and basically end up being vulnerable to blind, basically. So I decided that I won't use it. I think it's unintended, clearly. So I decided that I will just do the kind of intended path as I saw it. I lost 21 demons. It's not like I suffered for this. Okay, it's right about time we will be fighting Sir Mullich. He's been pretty annoying, but not that annoying actually. This area is kind of very the area for the player, for the red player, for Mullich, is actually very vulnerable to our sneak attacks, so kind of it's very easy to get a decent control over this area, even not killing Sir Mullich. But still, it's time to actually deal with him. So Mullich has blind immunity, but doesn't have mind immunity, so actually can do the Berserk. It's a little bit more complicated against him though, because his units are pretty fast. Even slowed Griffins, as you can see, have a pretty decent speed. And basically the only unit that fits well for the kiting is champions. And so I had some kind of pretty lucky attempts. I think I did bring maybe some different artifacts here or something. This attempt did not go exactly the way I was hoping it to go, but I decided I won't be fishing for like the perfect attempt I had before. I made a mistake here. I should have brought Ifrits up so that Cavalier's champions would remain on the left side. This way I wouldn't have to reapply Berserk after they destroy the tent. So I decided to leave this attempt basically just to demonstrate, I guess, that well, it's not always that you kind of need some like ridiculous amount of luck, and overall I would say that most fights so far did not rely on some like large amount of luck. Well, there were fights where I would definitely want to get some like good morale or luck at some point, but nothing crazy, I would say. So time to free up some backpack space. The next roughly 20 minutes are spent doing the demon farming, preparing Calh and Giselle for their next task, and doing some meaningless things with secondary heroes. Feel free to skip ahead to minute 39, where Calh and Giselle will finally start moving. So I'm giving more items to Calh. More specifically, he needs a golden bow and scroll of resurrection. And everything else is like basically minor improvements. Okay, I forgot to take the demons from Marius on the first time, so that's kind of pretty bad. I do have many heroes to spare, so it's not a big problem, but actually not very good. I'm looking for an extra set of Legion arms, and I think they're in the possession of Orin actually. Okay, she actually probably doesn't reach the dwelling in there. Yeah. I think she down portal a little bit too many times to actually get there in time, and also still have time to pass artifacts here and there and kind of stash demons. Okay, finally Calh and Giselle are about to move out. I got all the important artifacts on them, such as a golden bow and a scroll of resurrection on Calh to fight titans, and green boots on Giselle to avoid penalties. Nemus will pass Magos to them on the next day, so that they both could have maximum movement points for now. Next phase requires them to act in sync with each other. Both need a lot of movement points and some precision in using them, because even small delays on one may cause much worse delays for another with potentially cascading effects. I'll show you what I mean later. So I'm collecting wooden elves at this point, and also will be hiring pirates next day and some other units for a second wave of demon farming this week. Okay, so there is a brown hero nearby, and so he's actually not very close to this town, but close enough for Marius to reach him. He actually doesn't reach the town this day. Unfortunately, the way I timed it with Giselle and Calh, I actually need Marius to follow them next day, so and kind of have full movement points for that. So I won't be able to kill this hero, brown hero, next day. So I decided that I will be dealing with him now. And that's gonna be another bit of demon farming and secondary heroes activity. Feel free to skip forward to minute 52 when I will be fighting Korbac. Wow, that's kind of a nice morale streak for nothing. Finally, it didn't take eternity. That's very fast for my standards. It was close though. Okay, bringing demons for Marius. Enemy hero is pretty weak, so we can actually do the YOLO pretty comfortably against this hero with Marius. In this fight, and fights similar to this one, where we do the YOLO attack with demons or a similar army, one of the strongest tactics, in my opinion, is to have 3 to 4 strong stacks and aim at finishing a fight on turn 2. In this fight, Korbac has blind immunity, but most of the enemy creatures are slower than my demons, all except for Wyvern, and as a result, if we disable the lizards for 1 turn, for example with Berserk, to avoid taking damage from them, and either use haste or resurrection on my Archdevil, which I put in a position to be hit by Wyverns on turn 1, this way I can comfortably achieve a turn 2 victory without losses. And basically that's an approach I often take to the fights in this map, or like in many other maps actually. And of course, using Frederick to take demons away from Marius for maximum speed. Also move them here. I thought about bringing demons to Calh along with Magogs. Calh doesn't need them, but it would save a bit of time for Nemus later when she will have to bring them to Marius. They have the same speed as Magogs, so they wouldn't have slowed anyone down if they were in the same army, but I was a bit concerned of Titans deciding to attack demons, not Magogs, making it a bit harder to resurrect everything. However, I don't think that Titans would attack demons, so I think bringing them would actually be a smart idea. Anyway, I decided that there are not many things Nemus could do at that point, so wasting a couple of days for her later to bring demons doesn't change anything in the grand scheme of things. So basically, that's gonna be an area where I can assemble Legion parts, paying some resources, but I also need Legion parts to pass through gates. So, and basically, what this area holds is a hero, a pretty strong hero. A very strong spellcaster, for sure. Like level 3.5k sorcery specialist. So, to get access to this hero, I need to kill 3 Titan stacks on the edges of the area where I assemble and use Legion parts. So basically that's why Calh is going to that place, and Giselle needed to lift the magic fog from the entrance. And I also need another hero to make the whole navigation of this area faster. Calh alone would take like I think over a week, like well over a week to navigate it. And I don't even want to think about doing everything with Marius. That's just way too inconsiderate and wasteful in terms of her movement points. So when hiring heroes, I actually really want to focus on those who has knowledge. I don't need heroes who has 5 knowledge, for example, because I want to be casting town portal often. Like 5 knowledge is basically 15 mana regeneration. That's just like 1 town portal, sometimes 2 town portals a day. That's kind of really weak. So I actually don't like, and also obviously I don't want to be developing every new hero like knowledge from 0. I have many heroes to utilize, so kind of don't have many free slots to do that. So I needed to optimize my movement for that, so that both heroes would not have downtime here. So if Calh would have less movement than he does right now, he would actually not be able to get back to Giselle, and you'll see why it is important after this fight. So he needs to go back to pass the Legion parts he crafted, generated in a Seer hut, so that she could go to the next section. And if he did not reach her, if he did not cross the gates, and he kind of actually almost barely crossed them, so she would have to wait, and basically she has what, like 2000 movement points left at this point. That's 2000 movement points wasted now, and if she wastes them this time, she actually doesn't make it in time next time, and then, well, Calh will probably also have to waste his movement points, so kind of it basically spirals in a bad way. Yeah, I finally figured that I could sell skeletons. Should have done it on the day 7 of the previous week, actually. It would give me a nice boost back then. Too bad I didn't think about it. And quite possible that I actually could have even sold my skeletons even long before that, like when I had 8,000. It would be maybe a little bit more difficult for the necromancer to do things he did after that, but probably still would be doable actually. There is that Tazar hero. He's immobile, and I'm not sure actually, like, why and should I even fight him. He's pretty tough. He's very high level, very large army, very high stats as well. That Mifala Sensei blue hero would be kind of ridiculously weaker, much weaker than Tazar. And even her armor skill was kind of a problem, a little bit of a problem. So Zif is gonna go on the next mission. She's gonna have to steal a town from Adrian, and she's gonna do it on day 5, when Marius will be ready to come and fight Adrian there. Elmer doing Elmer things. Honestly, kind of basically just wasting a hero slot. I don't know why I keep doing this with Elmer. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like the return on from his activity is like minuscule. Did bring a few artifacts, useful artifacts, like this shoulder piece, but I mean I have a few already, so I don't know, maybe I should just bring him to the surface and start rotating him like every other hero. There are some distant places and I could actually benefit from one extra slot to build longer chains. Okay, getting an Azure Dragon. That I think it's quite important actually. I will use this dragon against Victoria, the sorcery specialist, in the area where Marius is going. This hero is pretty interesting actually. But I'll be fighting her in the next part. And we'll talk about her when we'll be fighting. I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning that she has like ridiculous rewards. So, but I guess I will also cover them when we'll be fighting her and around that time. Anyway folks, thank you for watching. I'll leave some of the more interesting stuff for the beginning of the next part, so please come back and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.